Greetings, everyone. We are getting ready to start. I want to let you know that if you or somebody that you know has experienced any type of violence and you're in need of support, if anything that comes up here today brings up any big feelings for you or you just want someone to talk to, counselors are in those two tents right there. We'll see. Oh, one counselor is here. Where the nether one? And there is the nether one. Going to no tent. Oh, you see them outside and come to them. All right, so please make note. Raise your hand again one more time for me. In the full black hair and at the back, in the black and white, these are our counselors. They're trained to offer the support that you might need. All right, so let's begin. My special guest here at the We Talk Facts campaign launch, I invite you to stand for the playing of the national anthem.
Yeah. Go ahead. All right. Back. Good.
Thank you very much. A special big up to Lana Finnegan here, who stop and stand up like statue when she hear the national anthem start to play. That is the type of respect that we need to have. Greetings and salutations, everybody. How are we feeling on this cool Kingston evening? Cool? First point of contention, it is not cool. Okay, but we had breeze. Look a breeze a blow. We could have had no breeze. Let's give thanks. Huh? Thank you. Big up the breeze. My name is Carla Moore, and it's my honor to be able to spend the time with you this evening. I know that we are starting a little late, and we thank you for our patience. We're going to try to move it along at a merry clip. So you are here at the launch of the We Talk Facts campaign. For those of you who may be wondering, FACTS is an acronym that stands for Fostering a Culture Towards Safety and Support. And I personally love it because I know that we need facts, big facts, receipts, them type of back it in there when we're talking about gender-based violence. The campaign is a timely and necessary, and I think very innovative initiative by WMW under the We Talk project. We Talk aims to combat gender-based violence by challenging harmful gender stereotypes. So when we talk about gender stereotypes, it's things like, oh, woman are Delilah, woman are wicked, and you mustn't trust them. They're manipulative and they will try to take advantage of you. Or, if sex is going to be good, it has to be raw. These are gender stereotypes that some of us don't even think about. We hear them in our everyday life, but they can contribute to gender-based violence. So we want to face them and see what we can do to move around them. The campaign's purpose is to foster a culture of safety and support through raising awareness and encouraging open dialogue about gender equality. We want to address the root cause of gender-based violence, and we want to promote factual, honest conversations. And we also want to create a society where everyone can live free from violence, which is actually a basic human right. So today's launch event is part of this wider campaign featuring the Tunnel of Misconception, which if you hadn't had a chance to do it, please, I encourage you to go listen to the experiences of people in Jamaica, get an idea of the context that we're talking about. We also have the display booths by our partners. We're going to have a panel discussion with some of our distinguished guests to engage the public and promote dialogue on gender stereotypes and violence. So we'd like to welcome our special guests, our partners, our stakeholders, the public and the media who are joining us here today. We have Judith Wedderburn, who is the board director at WMW Jamaica, who has been instrumental in leading this initiative. Dr. Madani Tiam, acting head of cooperation at Global Affairs Canada, GAC, whose support has been invaluable to this campaign. And now the retroactive clap for Miss Judith. And we have Nadia McLaren, Acting Director for Community Liaison, Bureau of Gender Affairs, who is representing the Honorable Olivia Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Okay. Love it. We also have our partners here, Oxfam Canada and Global Affairs Canada, whose generous support has made this event possible. No, we can't go louder than that for the generous support. And then we also have our stakeholders. We have the Children First Agency. Children First? Hi? But it coming. The Bureau of Gender Affairs, the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation, the Women's Resource and Outreach Center, the Jamaica Community of Positive Women, JCW Plus, yes. The Violence Prevention Alliance, Woman Inc., the Domestic Violence Intervention Center, E for Life, you see them, see the tent, big name, the Clothesline Project, and the Jamaica Network of Seropositives, Gen Plus, yes. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. Your support is invaluable. And finally, a heartfelt welcome and thank you to the public and the members of the media who have joined us. Your presence and your support is crucial as we work together to face the facts and shift the conversation around gender-based violence.
Yeah.
So let's start with a little bit of background on the We Talk project. I am going to invite Miss Ruth Howard up here. Ruth is the program manager for We Talk at WMW Jamaica. Ruth is the head cook and the back washer when it come on to We Talk. And you know the person who had hurt them first, Ruth and Eddie. Ruth has been a pivotal figure in designing and implementing initiatives aimed at reducing gender-based violence through community engagement and advocacy. Ruth is also one of those people who takes the work seriously and treats it as hard work. She's doing this work because it's close to her heart, and we are very lucky to have her working in this space at this time. Ruth will now provide us with an overview of the We Talk projects, the We Talk Facts campaign, and the work that WMW Jamaica does. Please give us a warm welcome for Ruthie Howard. I am not as tall as Tanya. Let me adjust. Also, have a boss. Yes, I have a boss. All right. Nicole Moulton, 17, Kingston. Shellyann Williams, 17, Clarendon. Sharon Cole, 61, Clarendon. Sam Foster, 83, St. Elizabeth. Do you remember them? Canice Jackson, 20, St. Catherine. Yetania Francis, 14, Kingston. Ananda Dean, Jasmine Dean. Do you know them? We call their names and hold space for them in this gathering to remind ourselves of the important reasons why we must persevere in our efforts to reduce and prevent what is truly the silent pandemic, gender-based violence. The World Health Organization tells us that 1 in 3 or 30% of women worldwide have been subjected to either physical and/or sexual intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. Jamaica's Women's Health Survey gives us our own reality of 1 in 4 and identifies the main victims and survivors as women and girls who are under 24 years old. It's the young ones. The other side of this coin are the numbers we cannot calculate, the stories we never hear, the cases we do not know of, the ones that get swallowed in the silence of unreporting. And this is not just for our women and girls.
but also for our men and boys, those who experience GBV and do not dare to speak about it in a society where they've been socialized to think of masculine strength and validity as an all-enduring silence. If we are to reduce and prevent GBV, which thrives and survives in the shroud of the unspoken, we have to defy the stigma, reject the shame, open our mouths, and talk about it. And that is why WMW Jamaica's 5-year project, aptly named We Talk for the Reduction of Gender-Based Violence, is for the here and the now. So good afternoon to everyone present. Acting Head of Corporation of Global Affairs at Canada, Mr. Madani Thiam, Bureau of Gender Affairs Representative, Ms. Nadia McLean, our WMW Jamaica board members and members, panelists, performers, and other guests. You are all special and welcome at this evening's launch of an initiative that we believe holds the potential to transform lives and build a safer, more inclusive Jamaica for all of us. Funded by Global Affairs Canada and Oxfam Canada, the We Talk project's overarching goal of contributing to the reduction of gender-based violence in Jamaica is being realized through 2 pillars of work. I'll tell you about the second one first. So the second pillar seeks to increase the capacity of civil society organizations, women's rights organizations, and youth organizations to coordinate and promote social norms change and to advocate for duty bearers, including government stakeholders, to address GBV and to provide quality services for survivors. Now let's talk about Pillar 1, which is the reason we're here today. Pillar 1 seeks to increase community and individual awareness of the many harmful norms, practices, and false beliefs that we hold as a nation that contribute to gender-based violence. Under this pillar, we're holding workshops all over the island and training persons on what GBV is, its root causes, how to report it, and how to advocate against it. The goal of this pillar is behavior change. We're increasing the ability of community members, leaders, and influencers to change themselves and to change others. We're literally getting the people in our society to talk more about GBV, to understand the issues around it, and to take a personal stand against it. So now we come to the We Talk Facts campaign, fostering a culture towards safety and support, which forms a critical part of our Pillar 1 activities. For us at WMW Jamaica, this is not just another campaign. It is a continuation and strengthening of a movement that began as far back as 1987, when 5 women sat on a veranda and decided to do something about the way they were being portrayed in media and the high levels of domestic violence they were seeing in society. They formed what was then called Women's Media Watch, recognizing the importance of the media as both a dictator and a depictor of popular and important social values and culture. And genuinely, I want to pause here because we have in our midst, and I think it's such a lucky thing for me and the other members of the organization, we have in our midst 4 of those women. We have Miss Patricia Phillips, Miss Judith Wedderburn, Miss Hilary Nicholson, and Miss Michelle Golding Hilton, all present and still with us. We give thanks for that work. We started as Women's Media Watch. We are WMW Jamaica now. But what has not changed is our commitment to empowering our people to speak out against GBV and foster a culture of open dialogue and support. The We Talk Facts campaign is a beautiful and timely marriage of our founding focus on the media and our unrelenting advocacy against GBV. The campaign messages are informed by research conducted under the very same We Talk project, including, and I'm very proud to say this, our groundbreaking study of Jamaicans' online discussions of GBV using artificial intelligence. I know. So this study used AI to examine over 245,000 Google queries and over 16,000 individual posts from social media platforms, which were TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit between 2021 and 2023. What it revealed were 11 prominent narratives, 11 shared beliefs around gender-based violence in Jamaica. These narratives ring true to popular culture and demonstrate a need to dispel the myths we hold as a society around GBV. And it is using this and other information that we have designed a campaign that will provoke thought, introspection, and action by challenging harmful gender stereotypes. With a focus on fostering a culture of safety and support, our campaign seeks to address the root causes of GBV by promoting factual, honest discussions about gender roles and violence. But the success of the We Talk project and the We Talk Facts campaign depends very much on our collective efforts. What we know very well is behavior change is a multi-stakeholder effort. It takes all of us. So we do need the support of the media to amplify these messages. We need the engagement of our community members. We need the continued dedication of our duty bearers and service and support providers. And we need the commitment of every single person hearing the sound of my voice. Because this is not a WMW Jamaica thing. This is not a women's rights organization thing. This is about all of us. It is collective. It is for us, and we want it to be influenced by every voice in our country. So let's talk facts. Let's foster a culture towards safety and support. Thank you.
Exactly. Go, Ruthie! Thank you, Ruth, and thank you for reminding us to defy the stigma, reject the shame, open our mouths, and talk about it. With that, a reminder that if you have something you want to talk about, counselors are on site here with us. And if you're joining this conversation online, we are using the hashtag WeTalkFacts about GBV. It's now my pleasure to introduce the first of three distinguished guests who will speak to us this evening. The first guest is Judith Wedderburn, a founding member and board director of WMW Jamaica. Judith has been a stalwart in advocating for gender equality and human rights. I have also had the pleasure of learning from Judith and watching her be Auntie Judith to the younger advocates who are learning from her. So, Judith Wedderburn, Auntie Judith, can I invite you to come up and share your words with us?
I just say, ladies and gentlemen, brethren and sistren, thank you all so much for coming. It means a lot to all of us in WMW to me. Whether you were at the beginning, like some of us were, and some of the new ones we see, beautifully stepping up to the plate and helping us to make today up. So after Ruth's phenomenal presentation, you realize there's not much else left to say. I acknowledge that. However, I'm encouraging us all here to focus on fostering a culture of safety and support, and to ask each of us to ask ourselves, what will I do to foster this culture? We're here gathered from different organizations, carry different jobs. Have anybody from outside Kingston, deep rural Jamaica? Yes, we're not forgetting you either. What will we each commit to do when we leave here today? And putting it to you that, as Ruth said, it's going to take all of us. It will take more than, I don't know, the dozens of workshops that I know that the We Talk Project team will implement in the coming year in several communities, rural and urban Jamaica. But there's a kind of networking that we need to know is taking place in addition to that. So if I throw it out to you and say, let's take the word safety. Do we all feel safe where we are now, where we live now? If you don't, is there anything you can do about it? If you don't, can you call a friend, a sister friend, a brethren friend and say, look here, this is what we need to do to cover each other's back. If something happens, we need to know who to call. We'll have to take very seriously now the safety of ourselves, our family, and our communities. That's the first thing. And then what about support? How can we support each other? And I don't mean just the people here present, each other in our communities, in your PTA, in your church. I did an interview this morning with a certain radio station, and I threw it out to that radio station to say, well, you name Love FM, don't? Said yes. I said, well, you both promote and preach loving kindness and mindfulness, care, and looking after people. So I said, that's your role, to ensure that when you hear about any church, when you hear about any kinds of violence being suffered by a woman, a child, a girl, or a man, the men may present a slight challenge. You call a brethren and say, look, find a brethren to go with you to the police station to report it. It has to be reported. If it's not reported, what does it mean, friends? If it's not reported, what does that mean? It means that it almost don't exist, because we need the reports to put together to make the research evident, the way we now do it with women's incidents. Years ago, those of us that have been at this thing for a long time, women were so afraid to go to the police station. That was the first thing. And therefore, the rates of violence against women were really underreported because they were not reported. So I'm throwing it out to all of us to encourage our men and the boys to learn that they have a right to report it. And to ourselves, those of us that work in whichever kinds of communities, open up your arms and your hearts to say to women, let us do this together. Alone, we're not going to fix it. We're not going to prevent, and we're not going to reduce. Sorry to be sounding so discouraging, but it's true. It's going to take lots of coming together and networking amongst us all, wherever we are. Your networking activities may be very different from mine or Pat's or Auntie Shirley in Household Workers Union. And then when you do it, tell each other. Use social media to say, hey, this is what I've been doing to help prevent, to give support to the women and girl children or boy children in our communities. Those are my passionate pleas for you all today, and to thank you all again for joining us to celebrate this phenomenal adventure that we are on together. Thank you.
Please end the music before there's an expectation that I have to drift, because I can't. Thank you so much. I only look fun. I'm a representation here for the deep rural people. Thank you, Miss Judith, for asking us that question. what will I do? Because gender-based violence happens to us, and gender-based violence can only be ended through us. Sometimes it's offering somebody a listening ear. Sometimes it's a couch on your couch so that they can get out of an unsafe situation. Sometimes it's intervening in a conversation when you know somebody has said something that is not right. So let us introduce our next speaker. We now have Madani Thiam, Acting Head of Cooperation at Global Affairs Canada. Dr. Madani Thiam is the Interim Head of Development Cooperation at the High Commission of Canada in Jamaica. In this role, he oversees Canada's International Assistance Program with the Government of Jamaica and development partners in support of Jamaica's efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Dr. Thiam has held similar roles in Zambia and Nigeria. He has spent the last 20 plus years working in the Government of Canada and the United Nations system, of which 12 plus years were spent in Africa and Southeast Asia, leading to the achievement of results on the ground, including maternal, newborn, child and adolescent health, and sexual and reproductive health and rights. As previously mentioned, Global Affairs Canada is also a key partner of the We Talk project. Please welcome the GAC head, Madani Thiam.
I'm not going to drift, no. Thank you, Carla, for the introduction. Very nice introduction. Formalities. The Honourable Minister Olivia Grange, represented today by Ms. Nardia McLaren, Acting Director of African Liaison, Bureau of Gender Affairs. Ms. Judith Wedderburn, WMW Board Director. Members of WMW Jamaica and the We Talk team. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. Good evening. And on behalf of Canada, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the launch of this innovative communications campaign based on significant research findings that will help move us towards a more enriched gender equity. I expect the word innovation, and we will hear that a lot this evening. Indeed, for those of us who walked through the immersive tunnel experience, it was not only innovative, but highly moving. It clearly reinforces the urgent need of a call to action. And it is a stark reminder of the horror of GBV, and that we all need to step up and be part of the solution. As you may be aware, as I hope you're aware, Canada's Feminist International Assistance Policy seeks to promote the empowerment of women and girls, advance gender equality, and the reduction of gender-based violence. These priorities are at the core of all of our development action areas, and we are fully invested in supporting Jamaica on this journey, 100%. We are pleased that WNW Jamaica, our local implementing partner of the We Talk project, took this innovative approach of using artificial intelligence to conduct a social media analysis related to social norms around gender-based violence and situating it in the local context, as you previously heard. The social norms identified requires each of us to pause and reflect on what we have learned and how each of us can make our own choices and changes. Because it starts with us, with you. Understanding gender-based violence behaviors and norms associated with them allows us to develop strategies for addressing and even mitigating harmful effects while promoting respect and creating a safer environment for all, including in the digital landscape as things progress. As the campaign rolls out, it's an invitation to engage in a deeply nuanced interpretation of what is meant when we talk about gender equality and gender-based violence between women, men, boys, and girls in the real, but also online and virtual worlds. Furthermore, it is an invitation to reflect on what measures can be taken to help break down and break apart these harmful social norms that have been revealed. There is nowhere to hide now, and there are no easy solutions, but collectively, we must continue to work on harnessing and applying all that we have learned, which is so fundamental to the transformative change that we're trying to achieve. As a leader and champion for gender equality, human rights, and the empowerment of women and girls at home and abroad, Canada remains engaged and committed to working with the Government of Jamaica and our key partner, the Bureau of Gender Affairs. Additionally, without the partnerships of the tireless civil society organizations, several of which are featured here tonight, we could not achieve as much without working together to advance gender equality and create a better, safer, and more inclusive society. In closing, I know we all look forward to a future in which women, men, girls, and boys across Jamaica have an increased presence and voice in framing the equitable trajectories of their lives and in the overall betterment of their society. Please join me in congratulating the entire WMW Jamaica We Talk team in taking this courageous and, yes, innovative step to pull back the curtain and to look behind the wall of misconceptions that surround the scourge of gender basement. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to a robust panel discussion soon after, the first view of the campaign ad, and to network with others, the civil society organizations that are here. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tiam, and thank you for reminding us about the Transformative Power Partnership and how important it is that we work in partnership if we want to end gender-based violence. Speaking of partnership, we are honored to have Nadia McLaren, Acting Director for Community Liaison, Bureau of Gender Affairs. She is representing the Honorable Olivia Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Ms. McLaren has played a transformative role in advancing policies for gender equality and women's empowerment in Jamaica. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Nadia McLaren. Nadia, you're videoing me? Video me now? It's so nice. Come on. Come on up. Warm welcome for Nadia, please. Got a different start. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing fine. I have the pleasure to be representing the Honorable Olivia Grange, CDMP, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. The Bureau of Gender Affairs, Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport takes great pleasure in welcoming all to the We Talk Facts campaign launch, fostering a culture towards safety and support. Today's launch of the We Talk Facts campaign is very important because through the support and partnership with Oxfam Canada, it is important that it aims to strengthen Jamaica's collective system to address GBV. I want to give special thanks and welcome to Oxfam family, WMW Jamaica, and the We Talk project. I think at this moment we should stand and give a round of applause for those ladies in 1977 that formed WFW. This club don't sound really celebratory. The efforts of these ladies is very impactful. And it's because of efforts for ladies like this, we have what we have today, WMW. We saw the young lady who, what's her name, Ruth? Ruth? Right. As a protege for these ladies. While walking through the tunnel, I was saddened because we have had so many years of initiatives, programs, public education, projects, support, all through, and we still have such high rates of gender-based violence. So I think we need to, as Jamaicans, as a society, strengthen our collective efforts to end gender-based violence. Listen to the name of this campaign, I smiled. It says, "We Talk Facts campaign launch, fostering a culture towards safety." If we are to have any change, we have to foster a culture of safety where, one, we have to break at the mental level to combat attitudes and norms that consider abusing another human as normal. In Jamaica, you hear the stats: 1 in 4 Jamaican women is abused, men and boys are abused, girls are abused. And at the root cause of that, as you can see, a lot of it is caused from the normalizing and accepting as gender-based violence as right? At the institutional level, it is important to ensure that our policies and procedures, as well as our legal and regulatory frameworks, facilitate timely support and redress for survivors. Finally, it is critical that at the community level, that we have to encourage and strengthen the knowledge to be able to, one, recognize what is gender-based violence. The data speaks that many Jamaicans do not know what gender-based violence is because we normalize and accept violence as just a normal way of dealing, treating with, and talking to others. So we need to break those stereotypes. We need to report and render assistance where we can. It is important then when we see issues of gender-based violence, we don't continue these stereotypes to say like, it's man and woman business, it's a couple's business, it's an inside business, so it is not my business to lend support. Or we ask questions like, if we see somebody being abused, man or woman, we victim blame and shame them, and the first thing we will say is what them do for cause that on themselves. We should recognize that violence at any level is wrong, and we should not accept violence. It is your human right to live a life that is free from violence. So for that, we are grateful to our partners who, through strong partnerships and shared understanding around the imperative of eliminating violence, and have dedicated throughout the years to collaborate and strengthen our system aimed at eliminating gender-based violence. The Ministry of Culture, through the government of Jamaica, recognizes the urgency to address violence against women, girls, men and boys. One important stereotype that we must address is that men do not experience gender-based violence. Men are suffering, and we need to help our men and boys. The Bureau of Gender Affairs is committed to eliminating and reducing instances of violence against women and girls. In this regard, we have developed a comprehensive national strategic action plan to eliminate gender-based violence that provides a 10-year action plan to address this. The NSAP GBV for short outlines 5 strategic priority areas, which includes prevention, protection, investigation, prosecution, enforcement of court orders, victims' rights, compensation, and data management. We chose those 5 strategic priority areas because the data says prevention is very important so that the violence doesn't happen to begin with. And protection, if someone you know is experiencing gender-based violence, or even you, that there are systems in place to protect persons. Investigation, that there are proper procedures in a timely manner, because timely manner is very important. What we have seen, that many persons shy away from reporting gender-based violence because they say, when they go to the courts, it takes too long. So they want timely redress. And sometimes persons can change their mind too because of the timeliness of reporting it. So we want to improve on that. Some of the other initiatives that the government we have operationalized 3 national shelters for victims and survivors of gender-based violence and their children who experience gender-based violence. So they do not have to suffer in silence or, as the data might say, die at the hand of violence. We have passed the Sexual Harassment Protection and Prevention Act. This act aims to protect women and men from sexual harassment in their various places of employment. We don't want to leave our men and boys out, so we have a male empowerment unit that focuses specifically on the issues that men and boys face. We have established 2 national health lines with trained counselors for persons who are experiencing gender-based violence, and I will show those numbers out there. They are 553-0372, and I can tell you that these numbers are 24 hours. The numbers are 553-0372 or 553-0387. There's a number that is specifically directed for males as well, and a text line for victims who are dead. To further support this, persons who may not have any credit, you can send a "please call me" a text and they will answer you. We also have a robust program of sensitization and public awareness at the community level. So we go to the churches, community groups, school-based organizations, just all around, because we want to get everyone involved to know that if Jamaica is to change, everyone has a role in change in Jamaica. It is not the government's responsibility. It is not the school's responsibility. It is everyone's collective responsibility if we are to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, raise family, and do business. If we want to end violence against women and girls, children, men and boys, it is Jamaica's. All of us have a role to play in doing that. So Jamaica can change, we change, and work together to end violence. I thank you all for taking your time to be here. It is a step in the right direction to show your dedication towards ending initiatives around ending violence against women, girls, men and boys. I wish you all a great, informative and productive evening. I know you will leave here better informed and ready to create initiatives and to stand up, speak out, and to learn more about how you can play your part in addressing and eliminating gender-based violence. Thank you. Okay, let me repeat the numbers. So, if you or anyone you know is experiencing gender-based violence, many times you may not have the tools because you don't want to re-traumatize persons. You don't want to shame them and say your fault. You don't want to place conditions on your support because many times a survivor takes up to 9 times before they leave an abusive situation. Even more than 9 times. And they'll have many reasons why they will stay in an abusive relationship. What you have to remember that an abuser most times is known to the person. Can be their baby father, them husband, them cousin, them uncle, them boyfriend, them sister, them mother, a close family friend, your friend. So they have ties to the person. So many times they do stay in that abusive relationship. So it is our role to help them, and we don't want to help them with conditions to say, oh, I did tell you this and you don't do it. So if you know you are going to re-traumatize or you don't have the tools to help, you can always call WMW or the Bureau of Gender Affairs. The numbers to call are 553-0372 or 553-0372, 553-0387.
2 phrases that I wish we could let go when it comes on to gender-based violence. I saw the thing set. I just saw the thing said. You know, there's like a sense of hopelessness and nothing can change. And when the person come to you, so what you do for cause them to do that now?
because I trusted you and I came to you to ask you something. You also said man and woman business. When I tell people that I'm a lecturer in gender and development, them say, "Oh, what that? Man and woman business? You go for you, we got to teach man and woman business," and them not far off. And Blacker Ellis has actually been one of the men in man and woman gender business for a long time. He has brought a lot of men into this conversation about gender equality, and I'm very glad that he's here with us tonight. I am thrilled to present a special performance by Owen Blacker Ellis, a renowned writer, actor, and educator who works between Canada and Jamaica. You hear that, Blacker? International. Known for his decades of work as a comedian, Owen has also made significant contributions as a writer for stage, screen, and television, and as an educator in English and literature. His performance will highlight a positive message about creating a future of safety and support. Please put your hands together for Owen Blacker Ellis. Blacker.
Two different Blacker, you know, you're Blacker, you're Blacker. I am not Blacker because I don't intend to block her. I'm here to support her. Stand in solidarity with her. Me not Blacker, no Blacker around here. Alright, so on Tuesday, somebody said to me that I'm a better poet than comedian. And I was actually quite encouraged by that. So without any much preamble and long thought, I will share a few poems. And I hate the initial long things, so I'm just going to speak the poem and they'll speak for themselves. Can I do that? All right. 5 poems, but I'm pretty short. Binary bound. We hold the girl part tight, a pent-up emotion. Keep it right inside, quiet and dark. Poised prize in a prison of pots and protection. We use fright to keep it safe in hysterical clutter of docile domesticity. Sensitize it to sweetness and clawing scents. Skeleton time, hissing and frying, smothering of sponges, claustrophobia of clots. Then we let the boy half off and loose, outside, loud and bright, brave and bustling. We push it to bruised need, wonder, earth to conquer, creatures to plunder, science, adventure, pull it like a bow, stretching mind, aiming arrow at the secrets of nature, like apple on daring head, tempting hand. Then we draw a line, and contradictions swell as both parts rebel. I can keep the clock going till we find the next poem. The next poem is called Man. This is not the aspiration, this is an observation of the reality. Man is me. Tough seed, rough passion planted, uprooted unwanted. Gall in your honey, crosses upon the country, fire on the ice, kinda wicked, sort of nice. Is me. Dunman, Ginal, hustler, walkbout, sweet mouth, scout, tout, short boat. Leader, lover, soldier, shatter, saintly sinner, breadwinner, dream taker, builder and the wrecker, the thriller and the killer, pumping pain, squirting pleasure, exerting power, make like God, but bad like a devil, burn up sun and wet up rain, sharp and steady, hard and heavy, rate me or fear me, you can't scare me, this is the raw born, real me, and who no hear me, feel me. This one is called Decree. Not crying tears. She blames those springs on onion, Scotch bonnet, on the tired old stove. Not saying grace, he feeds fumbling, cutting and chewing her garlic and ginger. She sifting salt, he sucking lime, she finding fault, he marking time. Not remembering tabled manners, they spit bitter truths, expel residue of bones, blood, and the oil of hurt glistens on her chin, with the taste of dirt as clawing as sin. Yet hope is pain will wish away as anger fades like stains of curry over time. Not posing the kitchen. Her cup is still unbroken, not swallowing secrets like vinegar on lips, but supping sorry, she belches the bile from her chest. Hush takes long to process, and stones hard to digest. This one, almost done. This one is called Making Man. Making man. Many women standing solo, breeding bread from brown earth, measuring and weighing, pampering and praying, playing, sewing and sewing to shape composure, cut consciousness, and milk manners from reluctant chests. Mostly women, weaning and wrestling to filter dread, daring and lust for danger, to chisel the rough edges of anger, to sift and strain fluids of strife, and keep composure while composing character. But man carry man. Man carry man. And more men doing what they can, reporting for duty, slowly, quietly. Maybe recovering patriarch would reproduce himself, that we may green, ground, and grow boys into gentler greatness, making new man more human. And the last one is the one that I wanted you all to join me on. It's very simple what your part is. It will be very easy unless you want to make it hard. So make it easy with me. Tick. I like it. Hey, tick. Tick. Little boy next door. Tick. Tick. Bad fruit we ignore. Tick. 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 Ding. Young blood wrong strong. Tick. Ding. Small cut burn long. Tick. 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 A stick and a rock, and life is a gong. Rhythm of pain playing all day long. Mix broken heart with violent hand. Try to understand how to counsel man, how to analyze the fire in his eyes, how to get through when whatever you do might look like a diss, and the only discussion without a weapon is a fist. Tick, tick. Little girl next door. Tick, tick. Give some want more. Tick, 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 tick. Bling bling, wedding ring, but everything wrong. Fire stick light quick, but can't burn long. She only hears him when him shouts, and believe him when him vex. His hardcore rhythm, her frustration song. Her mantra is money. His weapon is sex. Tick, ding. Ashes pan tongue, another one born. Tick, ding. Wrapped in wrath and sucking scorn. Tick, 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 tick. Parental instruction, adult attention is a cycle spiraling acid aggression. Flames of conflict quench with anger. Emotion is a with boiling water. Pain and pleasure is like needle and thread. Shame virus, history bread, and ghetto spread. Vulgarity is mother's milk, daily fed. Now the poison boiling. Hearts turn lead. Smiles get dark. Eyes get red. Tick, ding, tick, sing. Rhythm rough and lyrics long. Nothing much you can do for them, doc. Tell the selector, just run some track. Do it quick, heal a gap, fill a crack. Is he gone too far to turn around or turn back? Man need to feed the flames in him head. Pass the mic or load the gun. One way or the other, his people dead. Click. Crick. I just hope and pray that more men will talk to men, because I fully, totally believe and know from experience and observation that man follow man. Jamaican man love man. Man follow man. So if more man start walk right, man might follow them. Give thanks.
Black alone can come up here, come say Jamaican man love man, you know. Black alone. And that's why we have to have a Blacker with us. One more time for Blacker Ellis, please. Blacker, I think you're great as a poet and a comedian. I'm just saying, excellence in many spheres. All right, we're ready to move into our panel discussion. And our panel discussion is going to be very focused on adolescent gender-based violence in Jamaica. When we're talking about our adolescents, there are a lot of things we said, them broke bad. Oh, it's a generation of vipers. Them hormones in an overdrive and they're uncontrollable. But is this the fact? In the last few years, we've seen some very disturbing stories surfacing featuring adolescent gender-based violence in Jamaica. We are seeing sexual assault in schools. We're seeing teenage partners who are in relationships fighting and so many other painful things. Underage boys and girls are engaging in sexual activity. Their romantic relationships involve verbal, emotional, psychological, and physical abuse. And they think that it's normal. And it's compounded when there is the introduction of technology-facilitated violence. So we want to have a brief discussion about the socio-cultural factors that are informing this gender-based violence that we're seeing among our youth, and where focus needs to be if we're going to reduce gender-based violence in our young people. So we're disproving the myths today, and we're engaging in the facts. I'm going to be introducing my panelists, and I'm asking that as I introduce you, you join me up here, and that my tech team, they're already working on it, gets our mics ready. Today we have with us Judith Weatherburn. Judith, nobody look down when me I introduce you like last time and cover your face and then something there, you know, Miss Judith. See there, she started already. WMW founding mentor and board director. She is the retired director of the Friedrich Bert Stiftung Jamaica and Eastern Caribbean, and for over 30 years, she's been an advocate in the field of gender and development in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. She led advocacy activities that focused on human rights, gender-based violence, sexual and reproductive health, and women in leadership in collaboration with key women's rights organizations. She was responsible for the development of training programs using conventional as well as participatory methodologies with partners in civil society, public sector, trade unions, and the academic community nationally and regionally. She's an experienced facilitator, a rapporteur, and is currently a director of WMW Jamaica and a member of the Caribbean Advisory Group, Women's Voice in Leadership. please welcome Judith Weatherburn. Judith, can you please join us up here? Judith, you have the first choice of wherever you want to sit, anywhere, except this chair, because that one is mine. It's Judith. You know what? Take it if you want it. Anyway, what to sit. The next person I want to introduce to you is Patrick Layla, Human Rights Advocate and Policy and Advocacy Officer at Jamaica Aid Support for Life. Patrick Layla, ooh, yes, me like when the applause start early. Patrick Layla is passionate about defending the rights of vulnerable and marginalized people and is an advocate that challenges discrimination and marginalization at the highest levels. In the last decade, he has worked as an advocate for policy and legislative changes. He has contributed to the review and/or enactment of numerous pieces of legislation, including the Domestic Violence Act. He has been the lead coordinator behind one of the largest advocacy initiatives to end violence against women in Jamaica for the last decade. He currently serves as Policy and Advocacy Officer at Jamaica Aid Support for Life. Patrick Layla, can you please join me, Orly? Yay, Patrick! Go, Patrick! And finally, I would like to introduce Shamar Bryan, Human Rights Advocate. Shamar Bryan is a dedicated member of the youth arm of the Advocates Network. Currently, he is a student at the Norman Manley Law School, where he serves as president of the Student Association. In addition to his academic pursuits, Mr. Bryan is the director of Fortis Tours and Hiking, a tour company, not you going to school and running a whole business. He's passionate about promoting awareness and action against gender-based violence and other discriminatory issues that affect Jamaican society. Join us up here, please, Shamar Bryan. Thank you very much. You can hear me? Oh. Oh. Advocates, let me move in. You lost. Thank you. All right. To my panelists. Hi, how are you feeling? Everybody check that on the mic working, please.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello? All right, fabulous. Thank you all for joining us here tonight, bearing with us. Patrick, I'm looking at you. And I'm very keen on this conversation that we're about to have, especially because it pertains to adolescents. I think a lot of times when we think about gender-based violence, we think first of adults as an adult issue. But when we look at what's happening with adolescents, we realize that it's not. You know, we see young girls, they have the phone. If the phone is up and somebody's calling them and the boyfriend doesn't get upset, they're asking the boyfriend, why you don't care who calling me? You don't care that somebody might be looking at me and these types of things, which just goes to show how normalized it is, the idea that somebody's supposed to be possessive of you and controlling of you. So I'm really glad that we get this little bit of space together. And the first question that I want to pose is, we know that things like gender norms and our cultural beliefs can contribute to gender-based violence. Adolescents are living with peer pressure. They're the products of their family dynamics. What is the role of the family, the community, the NGO, the government? And I invite you to speak to whichever one of those rings true as quick. What is the role of families, communities, NGOs, and government in combating adolescent GBV specifically?
Good evening, blessed love, manners and respect. So, in terms of, and I'll speak to the family aspect, because I think it would be the most important and impactful aspect, as it would be, when it comes down to gender-based violence affecting adolescents. So, in terms of the family, we can rightfully or try to say that it is primary part of growth and understanding in any child or adolescence, right? So that's the starting point. And with that said, I think it is key that we highlight the family as where the circle begins. Because even though we talk about adults and all these other factors, it is going to calm down to the adult acting out, and then that same factor leading back to the child, right? So the family is the very first step. And for all those that are mothers, fathers, uncles, cousins, and you're here listening, this is where your call to action is. Because the education that you grant to your child, what you teach them, what you show them, because showing them is a part of learning. What you do is what they will pick up on. Your actions are a reflection of what they might decide to do growing up. So as the family, as the primary level of education for any child, it is key that one, you understand how to communicate with your child, because that is the very first factor. Communication. Make sure them understand when you're speaking to them and how to speak to them and other persons. Because once the whole aspect of communication starts, it not only starts within the household, but it then goes out into the wider community, the schools where now the problem is, and wider society. So as parents, as brothers, as sisters, brothers, it is up to us to set the pace. It is up to us to ensure that our children or adolescents that are in schools, they understand what is right, what is wrong, what is appropriate. And it now goes over to the factor of what they are allowed to do. Because, as was rightfully said before, the phones, social media, internet, radio, TV, it is influencing children. And this influence mainly happens at home. So when them lock up in them room, when them dip on the veranda, wherever they are in the house, it is important that you, as the head of that house or any member of that house, you set the example from early, because that will set the pace for the rest of their life. Austin.
Thanks so much for that, Shamar. So you speak passionately. Yes, and you can't clap. You know, clap. Thank you for that. And that reflection on, yes, what they learn from parents will be what they go out into the world with. And it's what they're going to carry into their own relationships. And a lot of parents love do as I say, not as I do. You know, but that modeling is important. Patrick and Judith, would you like to add anything? You're going to go.
Okay. I'm not sure if I can speak to one of those agencies you name, because I believe the approach to dealing with adolescent to adolescent GBV is a holistic approach. Yes, most times it starts with the family, but we have to put in context the society in which we live, that we have a lot of adolescents that don't have any access to that so-called family setting. As we know it, there is really no... So the family, as we define it, may not be defined for them. The family may become the community. The family may become the school. The family may be the church. So all those agents of big primary agents of socialization, the family for some of these young people may be the gang on the corner. So how do we get all of these agents involved? And then you moved on to NGOs, state agencies. I think it has to be a holistic approach. Everybody has a role to play. Good when we start with the family where there is a family to start. But we have to, what I want to say is start with me. Start with yourself, whoever you are, and whatever
community you represent. Whether you are there as uncle, dad, mom, the social worker from the NGO, the sister from the church, or the brother on the corner. All of us have a role to play, because the reality is children live what they learn. Whether it is being taught to them directly, whether they are observing it happening around them, whether they are seeing it on social media, wherever it happens, and they are seeing it, then in the long run it influences how they. And just before I came up here, I was sitting with my colleague George Crawford, and we were talking about an incident at the school earlier this. I'm still trying to figure out, it ended up with the teacher charged. But the story is, and these are allegations, I have no evidence of the facts, but the story is that the teacher held on to the young man's bat because of some infraction at school and said, bring your parents. The mother, the uncle, and the young showed up. And whatever transpired, it ended with all three giving the teacher a beating. Now, I want you to consider the average high school have about 12 to 1,500 students in there every day. And all the adolescents in that school are aware of the incident. Quite a few of them saw it. And quite a few of them may have left the impression that when you have a dispute, just come and beat up teacher, fix her business, and let you door up the tyranny. Now, what does that have to do with gender-based violence relationships? This belief spills over into relationships. And when they have disputes, they deal with it accordingly. And when it's not dealt with accordingly, that's why they ask the question you ask. How many up on the phone, question who may I talk to? Or how me say me going out and you're not asking where me going? Because they now think that this is the norm, this is what they play out in their relationships, and when it is upset, when the baby can end up being involved with somebody who knows this is not the way, and it's upset, they're wondering what is wrong with this patient, because this is not how it's supposed to happen. So, all of us have a role to play in ensuring that we set the right example, provide the right support, and most importantly, listen to our adults.
Wait. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Well, there is value coming at the end. So I would like to endorse what our colleague said, but I would like to add another dimension, and that is intergenerational violence. Consider that in many of our households, there are at least three generations. The grandmother, the mother, and the adolescent or the child. And some of the research is showing that there are some grandmothers who will say, yes, it did happen to me too. So, and I'm not rude. So that mother or grandmother are not in a position to say to the adolescent, the now adolescent, is not in a, she doesn't have the capacity or the understanding to say what we are saying here. So for me, the work has to include 3 generations. And that we know where that is coming from. And so when we say it's deeply ingrained, that is what I am talking about. Because that grandmother don't have a clue. She know what she went through. She know what she had to do to survive. And she has survived long enough to be around to help look after her grandchild. But what is she going to bring to the grandchild? What she's going to bring, whatever her lived experience has been. And that to me is a major danger. It's another category of citizens we have to reach, as if we don't have enough to reach already. But I believe a missing link in some of our households could be that, and we'll find a way to deal with it.
Thank you for highlighting that. Yes. That thing of when did it happen to me? And it becomes normalized. And I have carried my pain and I've managed to make a life around it. You know, you survive and you make a life around it. So if it happened to you, you too will survive, which is true. But it doesn't address the harm that is caused. I am thinking about the fact that we have 3 generations in a household, and there's a possibility that all 3 of those generations might have gone to school to some level. What should be the role of the school in ending gender-based violence?
That's big one. The school, well, maybe at this stage it's just the adolescent girl of the 3 generation, or adolescent boy, whatever the case may be, that is in school now. But I think we, and teachers out there may be at me for this one, because how much more work can we ask our teachers to do for the current pay? No. But I think we have to, I remember the days when I was in school, way long ago, before you were born. And
Patrick, we're like the same age, Patrick. Please.
And, you know, teachers were so invested in us as students, in what was happening with us, in what was happening in our families, in any little deviation from our normal behavior. They'll be finding out what's happening. And it's not just the boy whose toe you stepped on in school and you had a fuss, but they start to look beyond that to say, wait, and if you don't care for teacher, reach out again this evening to send this sleep. What is happening at home? Because I noticed something with Patrick today is not in normal cell. So I think we have to get back to that stage when as educators, there's that investment in the betterment of the persons who sit before you every day, where this interest goes beyond academia, and ensure that whatever is happening in the home, in the community, wherever they come from is. And I know the challenges that I hear people say they go and beat them and they go and run them, and that we have to, we as a society, and this is where we have to come into, because we have to be the people in the communities who stand up and say the teacher care while she come over here. Stop bad up the teacher, listen to the teacher. This is where we have to come in. Because yes, we know the people are there who are going to, well, not from the gate. What you come over here for? You didn't tell us you have any problem. But we as community members, we have too much of a mind your own business culture in Jamaica. We believe too much in mind, and it's good to, the problem is the business where we mind, we're not behind it. So the abuse that is happening next door, that we should be speaking up of this campaign of some speak up, talk out something about that. Yes. Ruth, speak up. We talk, yes. So we have to get involved and realize that I have a role to play. And if I see it happening and ignore it, I'm just as guilty as those who are committing the act.
Say that part there again.
If I see it happening and ignore it, do nothing, and I don't mean you have to go over there in the middle of the fight, go part fight and say, you get licked too. But if you see it happening and you do nothing, you are just as guilty as perpetrators.
You rile up the teacher them and then you bring them back to your side. I don't know how you're doing. All right, Miss Judith, you put your hand up.
I just want to add one thing, Patrick, though. The last couple of times in another process, I got involved with a certain school counseling teachers, let's put it that way. And one of the dilemmas they faced, they said, look, you know, this teacher, she had a class of about 45 students, mixed, adolescents. She said, you know, 2 or 3 years ago, I would be able to call the parents of my students and say, come on seminar, something not right. One of them should call now and say, what you want me for? How your work that me send them to school for you to fix them. This is in a situation where the school had 1,200 students and 2 guidance counselors and 1 dean of discipline. So I think the country, and whichever government is in power, has to make up its mind about finding the resources to put in the schools to allow the schools some of the work that we all expect schools to do, because they shape our children, and the teachers who teach chemistry or geography or physics, all these STEM people that's supposed to work all these miracles now, they must counsel students as well, right? Okay. So I really am, I get very frustrated and sympathetic of the schools when you see the data that tells you how few guidance counselors and deans of disciplines they have. They're the ones that have to call the police if something happens. And you get the guidance counselor, the dean of discipline at that school, had 3 cases in one day. They don't always have to leave the police come and have to. And can that work?
Thank you. It's just as Patrick said when we're talking about the type of holistic response that we need to have. We need the people in the school with the training in the numbers that are required in order to do that work. Yes, Shamar.
And I'd really just have one point to add to that, because that was an excellent point. In relation to reaching to the students, and I can probably say this as closest to the student perspective as possible.
We know about me. I'm a student of life.
Okay, I understand. But in terms of the students, I believe when we reach out, we have to reach out in a way that we can closely relate to them. Because if we're sending out messages to our students and they're not connecting, then what is the point of the message? Because if you miss the mark, then you miss it totally. So in terms of getting towards the students, the school, and this is more of a call to action, so any teachers, principals, deans here, get close to your students. I know that the family and the community are surrounding factors, but the school comes in as a strong second for enforcement, and for some, as mentioned by Patrick, it is the first. So when it comes on to the teachers delivering these messages or giving demonstrations, because the theory is not always what connects to the child. It is showing how to actually resolve these conflicts. It is showing them how to talk to somebody when they don't agree to what is going on. It is showing them how to accept when they are wrong and to understand how to move forward in dealing with any situation.
Thank you. So, clap, hello, clap him. So if I'm hearing you, and I'm hearing a lot of things coming up, but I'm hearing from you that we also need the teachers and people around to act as mentors, so that we're not just telling young people what to do, but they can see us in disagreement, and they can see how. You see how I said because I'm not young anymore, because you tell me I'm not in school. All right. Let's talk about technology. We know that a lot of people are living full lives online, and the online space offers a lot of opportunity. But the online space can also become very unsafe, especially when it comes on to gender-based violence. How can we get people to stop using technology to facilitate gender-based violence and instead use technology to help combat gender-based violence? Absolutely.
So, first and foremost, can I see a show of hands of those of you who know that gender-based violence happens on the internet as well? Right? So, this is more so commonly known as cyberbullying, right? And cyberbullying, even though some persons take it as, just a brush off because it's online, you shouldn't take it as personal. But oftentimes, what happens on the internet, it manifests itself and comes back in real life to harm those persons that are being affected, right? So in terms of what we can do, and this goes in all circles, so I think many or most, if not all, of the social media or online platforms that are there, they have what we call parental guidance functions, right? So it restricts the child from getting access from certain forms of information that might be toxic to them and toxic to other persons, right? So that's where not only they as service providers come in, because they are playing the active role, but we as mentors, parents, guardians, schools, we need to ensure that they're actually being used, because the tools are only as useful as they are being used for, right? Correct. So in terms of enforcing it, we need to ensure that our children understand what is for children and what is for whatever other audience that is there. So when it comes on to using your Instagram, your Twitch, your X, formerly Twitter, they need to understand that there's a section for them and there's a section that is literally, quite frankly, not for them.
Yeah, thank you.
A phrase from a movie I watched many years ago, Wave the Band, where a mother said to her son, "Your glory walks hand in hand with your doom." Your glory walks hand in hand with your doom. Doom, yes, doom. Globalization and technological advancement has been both our glory and our doom. The world being so at all of our fingertips now is a good thing and a bad. That's what I'm saying. And we have to have the parental controls, as my colleague just said. That is good. But I think we have to make legislative changes for providers to be held responsible for the content that they allow to flow across their platforms. Now, it is quite an argument in the United States and all of the world now, where there is this balance between free speech and freedom of expression that has to be struck with having controls to ensure that we are not endangering our children and adults. So I think we have to get strong about that, because most of parents sitting out there, the kids know the platforms better than you. So you can put on parental control, they take it off and you don't know. Is that true? Yes, they know of their way around these platforms better than you. So while there is some responsibility on the parent, the providers have to be held responsible in law, and they have to feel it where it hurts. Thank you.
In the pocket.
It's in the pocket.
In the pocket. Yes, thank you. Miss Judith? No.
Yes.
What about the influencers?
We take care to Judith. The influence first.
We may not finish. That's true. The influencers. We do. And I think it's also that some of the things that are technology facilitated violence, people don't even think about it. Somebody send you a picture, you know the type of picture I'm talking about, it's a little bit of undressed picture, and you forward it out to somebody. We've had things happen where in the middle of champs, videos are going out to everybody who is there because people are sharing them. That's a form of violence. If you don't do what I'm asking you to do, I'm going to release the video. That's a form of violence. You make a fake account and you start sharing somebody's personal information, their contact information, their name, and all type of slanderous things about them. That's also a type of technology facilitated violence. And I think sometimes we think of it as we don't take bullying seriously. So when we say that something is bullying, we don't think of it as an act of violence, but these things have consequence for the person's life, for the rest of their life, you know? And I think it's also us having a conversation with our adolescents about the world they're living in. A frank, non-judgmental conversation, because it dreading at the streets. One back, yes.
as you mentioned that, and I think it's very important to note that even for the person that is committing the act of violence, it is also important to note, especially for the adolescents, that act will reflect back on them. So they don't even know what they're doing now, because the things that you just listed out, they are cyber crimes, and that could really affect their record before they even reach into adulthood.
And people know, there are people I know who have lost their jobs because of the things they've done online, and they're not thinking about that in the long term. Well, okay, so it's not a long time. We just have a good time up here. So, you have one more. Well, it's one more thing I want you to say. I want you to say the parting words.
Okay.
I want everybody to give us the last lick. So, add on the thing you want to add, and then give us your party.
So no, I want to say to everybody here and tell everybody, it's critical as we talk about gender-based violence among adolescents and otherwise. The Jamaica's Domestic Violence Act is currently. Well, you heard when Carla read out my introduction, I had one lot of work around legislative review. The Domestic Violence Act is currently being reviewed. And, I'd love to see more citizens' voices in these spaces when they come up with the same faces. I see Judith there all the time, and she see me there all the time. We want to see. This is something that affects us all, and there are some critical provisions that are needed. And it came to mind because as Carla went off a while ago talk about all the other forms of violence, when nobody never lick you or chop you, and she took violence out of the physical sphere. And we are so cultured to think, well, if you're not lick you, they are not. And there are so many, and even our legislation in this country are so positioned to focus on the physical. So if you go out there and blood not running and a arm is not dismembered, it's almost like nothing happens. How dare you show up in a police station to say you are being emotionally abused? Who cares? So I am saying this to say we need to add our voices to this legislation. One of the things that we are asking for is for them to broaden the types of violence that the legislation covers, going over from physical, emotional, psychological, financial. I know that is in my submission that I've already presented. So I'm asking all of you to lend your voices to this, in this forum, to ensure that coming out of this, because we don't get legislative review in Jamaica very quick. So if you get it reviewed now in 2024, I may not be around when it's reviewing again. So let's get the best we can out of this process, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, because I said right.
Very briefly, I would just like to add that, sometimes some of us say, legislation does have nothing to do with me. But the truth is, it has a lot to do with us, because that is what is going to, that is what shapes our lives, and what may or may not happen to you, if something happens to you, or your son, or somebody in your household. So I would throw it out to us, if you're part of an organization, and you know of a partner organization like JASL or WMW or InfoLife, who are engaged in learning more enough about the legislation in order, and their own experiences now, in order to make workable recommendations. Touch base with it and help. Even if you just listen, just touch base, listen, and see how you can then use that in your own organization, because it is our lives that are going to be shaped by this legislation, and children and grandchildren. So I would throw that. It's something else. I can hear people saying, Lord, one more song for me to go and do. But even if you just listen, I'm really imploring you. And the other thing is to take the cyberbullying thing seriously, my friend. If you don't understand what your children and grandchildren are watching on the tablet that you so graciously gave them for their birthday, find out and fix it. Please, that is my appeal.
Yes, so much. That is your final word, Miss Judy? That is your last lick? All right, thank you. And as you mentioned, a lot of the partners that you mentioned are actually here today. They have booths, so if you want to engage them, they are around the space, you can talk to them. Is you them set up for seal up the thing, you know?
Okay, so in terms of my last words here at this function, guys, this is not just a panel discussion. We are reason, we are talk. So even though we might have a different makeup, this is how we should be speaking to each and every person all the time. If it's a family setting, if it's their own Mass John shop or play domino, yeah man, start the conversation. This is how we get things going. And guys, I like to use the analogy. A proper working body has all parts working. So the family, the community, the school, the church, everybody, mother, father, neighbor, if you don't know the person, but you notice something going on, it falls on you. What you do can make such a big difference to that person that you might not even know. So, coming from here, this is really a call to action. A call to action not only to take action, but to do your due diligence. And what I mean by that is educate yourself, because if you understand properly what the things are, what the factors are that constitute domestic violence, then you can so much better communicate to somebody else. Because we start with education and then we end with action. Thank you.
Thank you. Somebody said bop, bop. Thank you all to my panelists. Before I officially thank you all, I'd like to open up to see if there are any questions for you from the audience. Say you what? Do we have any questions from the audience for my panelists? Oh, so we're going home. Yes, Miss Judith, we have to go home. After. Not now. Question? Mr. Layla, all right? Great question. How exactly do you get involved with the legislative
All right. So generally, the parliament, they throw out a call for submissions. But what I would advise you to do, get involved with a group. Get involved with any one of the groups here or any other group that is involved in the legislative process. And if you think a piece of legislation is being reviewed, and you have a point to add and you don't think you can write submission and note parliament, tell us. Come to us, we will make it a part of our submission and make your argument. So get involved with that group, because generally it is these groups that come together, put together these submissions and make these points of it. Right. So that's the best route I'd advise you to.
And thank you. We have space for one more. All right. Yes.
I'd like to find out, in terms of legislative review, is there anything happening now that speaks to the change of the age of consent? We're talking about adolescence, and it brought me back to a conversation that I had with a group of friends the other day. I find it very odd that at 16 years old, you can have sex and have a child, but you cannot open a bank account. It irks me. I took my son to the bank to open a bank account for him. At the time, he was about 17. He couldn't open the bank account, and in fact, it took me about a month and a half to get his name added to my account. But he was legally able to have sex. And then when the census takers came, they were asking me if my son was involved in a visiting relationship. So it just makes no sense. So I'm just wondering, how can we use discussions like this? How can this forum help to push that? Because it really makes no sense. And we're really doing our children a great disservice. Because they're not, whether they think they are ready or whatever the case may be, if you can't open a bank account, you really shouldn't be having any children.
So I would love to extend the question. Is there any review happening now, or are there any conversations happening in any spaces around the age of consent in Jamaica?
Well, this could take me very long.
We don't have very long, Patrick Leland.
Current legislative review. The piece of legislation that speaks to age of consent is the Law Reform Age of Majority Act, which is what gives the person who has attained the age of 16 the power to do all of those things. There is constitutional reform going on now, and it is somewhere where it could come up. It is somewhere where it could come up, but it has not come up. And because the report that, I don't know if Judith see it, but I have had the chance to read it yet. The secret report, yes. Because we weren't sure what is in that, I cannot definitively say it is not coming. But I want to quickly share my view about the age of consent and ask that we consider. Because in some places we are asking, lower it, raise it. What I want to think about is to what end? Is it that, and what does the age of consent really mean? Because I am a bit bothered sometimes when I hear people limit that to, oh, you reach 16, you can have sex now. That's really not what the age of consent is in law. The age of consent, there are a lot of things that the law allows an individual who has attained the age of 16 to do. But also, what I think is more important is, as families, communities, institutions, we have to take a more active role in helping our children to understand what appropriate behavior is, at what stage of development you are, and what you should be doing at that stage. I think if children properly understand. I remember, I've worked with so many groups of adolescents. I remember the one that my colleague, Joy Crawford from E for Life mentioned, shared many years ago. There was the adolescent girl who said, well, I agreed to have sex with the boy. But nobody told me that after the sex, my belly would start to blow up like a balloon, and then I'd feel something inside, and then a baby would come out, and then I would have responsibility for that baby. I don't want anything to do with all of that. I didn't sign up for that. I just signed up for adult sex. So I think we need to get our children to understand the responsibilities that come with taking this on, because the reality is we put the age of consent to 40 now. People not waiting on 60. They're not waiting on 60 right now. So what is the guidance that they are getting? What is the support that they are getting for them to feel that, guess what, if I feel like doing this, can I actually go talk to mommy, go talk to daddy, and them listen to me, as opposed to, where you get that from? Where you come to me with sex argument? The answer is the tablets, the phones, the spoiled. It's all around them.
The man on the corner?
Exactly. So I think while I know a lot of people argue for raising the age of consent, what I want us to focus on, the issues that we are having now, with it at 16, will they go away with it at 18, 20, or 20? And what are we doing to address those issues that could be of much greater good than anywhere we move the age? That is something.
Thank you. Yes, applaud. I think that's a great note to end on, because it brings us back to our responsibility. Yes. One more. Around. The mic is coming to you.
Hi. I'm actually a Canadian, so that's kind of cool. And I'm a visitor to Jamaica. Hi, everybody. Hi. So I just have a quick question, because I'm well aware of, at least I see the signs about abuse. And originally when I walked in, you guys were talking about abuse and education towards people and what is acceptable and not. So my question, as someone who has been visiting here for a while and knows a lot when it comes the normalcies of what is acceptable here, especially when it comes to abuse towards women. I'm wondering what, and maybe you did touch on it, so I'm just curious, what will be done when it comes with the police enforcement or even just the support of this legislation and how it's going to push the police to enforce more seriousness so that women feel comfortable to call? Because I think what's really, really sad, and I just want to state this, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you know this, as me as a foreigner, I have more rights than women here. And that is unacceptable and that is sad. And I just want to say, as someone here, I stand with you. I think it's so unacceptable. And I think that people really need to change that. But I just want to know, how are the police going to help enforce this so that when women call, they feel comfortable and safe and that someone is going to come help them? Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the police force is, and I'm taking this because I do so much work in that area, but the police, we have been doing a lot of work with the police over the past decade. And we have seen the police now within the last 5 years have domestic violence intervention centers, domestic violence specifically trained officers. I personally have trained all the police officers manage the domestic violence centers now. So I am speaking definitively on that. And what I can say is the force has taken a more forward-thinking approach in how the police respond to domestic violence. They have what is called force orders, which is a little internal communication. How they talk to each other in the force, how views come down from the top, and they have reiterated over and over in those orders how domestic violence matters are to be dealt with, how violence against women matters are to be dealt with. So let me say it is not where it should be, but a lot of work is being done in that area to ensure. I was just at home on Saturday morning and somebody called me to say, Patrick, I have a lady locked in her room and the man is at the door. I didn't know who else to call. You are the person who get the police there quickest. And I called the head of the domestic violence unit, right? I just had her number in my phone, so I called her and she dispatched some officers and they went. But interestingly, the lady called me back. The lady who I didn't know, it was somebody who newly called me to say, wow, I was surprised at the response of the police, because she was locked in the room and the gentleman was sitting on a chair at the door, ensuring that she can't come out. And the police showed up at the address and said, we got some information that here's on the spear, that here's a lady locked in the room. He said, I don't know anything about her. But she was locked in the room and afraid to come out. But I had told them that the police was en route. And she heard the police talking to the man and him saying, I don't know anything about her. And she opened the door and run past him and came out. And she said, yes, it was me locked in the room, but it's okay now. You can go. And the police said, no, ma'am, we are not leaving. We are not leaving. You're going to have to come down to the station with us. And if you choose, we need you to give a report. If you choose not to give the report, we really can't force you to give it. But based on the information I have, we need you to come to us and we need you to give to me. And she was just so surprised at how the police responded. And they took her to the station, assisted her, and I'm sure I'll still hear the end of it. I don't hear the end of it yet. It was pretty recently. So I'm saying there is improvements. And I look forward to the day when you can visit Jamaica and see that the women here have just as much rights as you do. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Thank you to my panelists. Thank you all for joining us in this conversation. Thank you for building the rapport with the audience. Thank you for the different types of work that you're doing with your communities. And thank you for helping us to think through this issue of adolescent to adolescent gender-based violence. Can we get another round of applause for my panelists? Shamar Bryan, Patrick Layla, and Judith Wedderburn. Please keep the applause going as they leave this area, as we prepare the stage for the launch of an advertisement. First time being viewed, yes. Dinner? Judith, I'm not in charge of dinner, unfortunately. Or fortunately, as the case might be. So we're here tonight for the launch of the We Talk Facts campaign. And you are going to be the first people to publicly view the We Talk Facts campaign. We are very excited to share this ad, which was directed and produced by RT3 Media. The ad encapsulates the essence of our campaign and the message we aim to spread. So please turn your attention to the screen as we watch this ad together for the first time in the public. So round of applause for the ad, please.
Ready. Man for tough. Man for bally. A weak man love ball.
Women have more protection than men. It's men we need to protect.
One couple of fight, we just laugh and pass them. A man and woman think that.
Some people may believe these things, but actually, they're not facts. Sharing harmful beliefs promotes gender-based violence, a widespread problem affecting all of us.
A true enough. Man for sure how him feel. Even if it means say a man to cry.
You know, sexual violence mostly affects women and children.
For real, it's not funny. Man and woman thing can affect the whole family and community.
Get the facts through WMW, Jamaica's We Talk Facts campaign.
Let's foster a culture towards safety and support for victims of gender-based violence. Learn more at WMWJA.org or at WMW Jamaica.
If we can watch it again, them say for pull it up.
Ready. Man for tough. Man for bally. A weak man love ball.
Women have more protection than men. It's men we need to protect.
One couple of fight, we just laugh and pass them. A man and woman think that.
Some people may believe these things, but actually, they're not facts. Sharing harmful beliefs promotes gender-based violence, a widespread problem affecting all of us.
A true enough. Man for sure how him feel. Even if it means say a man to cry.
You know, sexual violence mostly affects women and children.
For real, it's not funny. Man and woman thing can affect the whole family and community.
Get the facts through WMW, Jamaica's We Talk Facts campaign.
Let's foster a culture towards safety and support for victims of gender-based violence. Learn more at WMWJA.org or at WMW Jamaica.
All right, how we feel about the ad? We like it? It nice? Right, it's short. Them something that we like here. So I want to take this moment to big up the entire We Talk team and the team that put together this work, to do this research, to do this ad, to create this experience for us. We enjoy it. Now, please, look out for this ad on traditional media, social media, on digital platforms. And when you see the ad, I don't want you to just watch the ad, I want you to share it. Right? Because this ad has some very important information, some myths and some misconceptions that people have about GBV, and we need to end it. Please also ensure that you are engaging WMW on their platforms. You can find them on their website, www.wmwja.com. You can find them on LinkedIn and Facebook at WMWJA. Information is up there. If you want, you can follow them immediately, or take a picture of the screen, and when you get home, you follow them. You can also find them on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at WMW Jamaica. We know that there are a lot of people, including young people, engaging in the online space, and this is one way to get them into this conversation by sharing the information that WMW is posting there. How many people went through the tunnel? Yes? You saying something to me? No? We went through the tunnel? Okay. We have this immersive experience that is a way of capturing some of the things that people experience in Jamaica as it pertains to gender-based violence, and some people had the opportunity to engage with it today. As part of the We Talk Facts campaign launch, we created this tunnel of misconceptions, and it's designed to challenge and debunk common myths and stereotypes related to gender-based violence. Now, many of you walk through the tunnel. You confronted these misconceptions, and we captured some of the moments and your immediate reactions. And we want to take a few minutes to watch the footage of how you reacted to the tunnel and to hear firsthand how this experience impacted you. Are we ready with what we're sharing here? So we'd like to watch the live video. In the meantime, I also want to say that some people would have gone through the tunnel while the activities were happening, so you wouldn't have got to hear the audio. So after this, we're inviting you to go back through the tunnel with the audio so that you can get the full experience. Are we ready with the live video? Or should I move on to something else? Lemna? Yes? Oh, the feedback form. Yes, thank you. As a reminder, a lot of you were given feedback forms that we would need you to complete. Please go ahead and complete them. You can do it now or at the end of the event, but please complete them and return them to our volunteers. The volunteers are wearing little name tags that identify them. Volunteers, can you put up your hand and wave? Yes, volunteers. When you finish, you can return them to your volunteers so we can have an idea of how this experience was for you. Can a volunteer tell me about the live video? Giveaway time? Love that for me. But I don't want to be the one to judge who put up the hand first. If not you put up your hand first, that's not how this works. What will we ask for our giveaway? I know. Okay, the giveaway. Who wants to judge? Who wants to know to this? All right, fine, I'll do it. The giveaway question. I would like somebody, please don't bother the answer, who can name 5 of the booth holders who are with us here today. Can anybody name 5? You? All right. 5. These are good prizes. You have to work for them. Are you affiliated with WMW in any way? Okay, fine. I heard you were not eligible if you are. 5. Okay. I believe in you. A whole of 5, yes. And don't look on my paper neither. Come.
Okay, so good night, everyone. So there's E for Life, Jamaica Constabulary Force. Don't help me. Alright, me need help. What? I want to remember 2.
Evening.
Yes. E for Life and Jamaica Constabulary Force. Just send me the picture? They don't remember. Alright, well, I want to know 1. I want to know 1. Oh, well, no, there's a woman's touch. They had a booth. Alright, we give up.
Thank you for trying. It might come back to you if nobody else wants to try. Anybody else want to try? Hot mic? Yeah, 4, so you can't add on 1. Are you eligible? Is she eligible? She is? Oh, Hillary said, all right, come. Please come with 5, Ask Lana for 1 more, come. Come, man. Stand up in the video light. If in the video light, come. You're bullying me, come.
Alright, so it is E for Life, VPA, JN, right? JN. Yeah. JN plus. I said that before, yeah, I got that, yeah. Yeah. That. We change. One more. What for? You got that. Yeah? We did that. What? Example.
You're not the movement. Oh, like, go away, please. What? I don't hear a shout out the answer to you at that. The two of you are a team. Sure. Hi. Is it going to be chaotic like with them? Alright, fine. We like chaos. Fine. I hope you do have a note in your phone, you know. Alright.
E for Life, Ministry of Health. Is it Ministry of Health? What? Gender Bureau. I don't like to have found any personal. You can sick. You're good. I don't remember anymore. No, it looks like what I just don't three. The fact, wait, are we gonna change and stuff? You said something.
But maybe we should up in here because people keep saying we change. Thank you. You ready? Come on. Into the video light. Your time to shine.
Gonna try and see how much I can get. E for Life. The gender up is part of the Canadian embassy, the man from the Canadian embassy. The WMW. We talk on the XPAM group. We talk the AIDS, how much we got? The AIDS support. So you have the gender affair group. The Canadian MWM, we don't get any? And the AIDS, the support for life. And that means is the woman Inc. I try.
Thank you very much. Come, Ruth. Come, man. Come, give a basket, man. Yes, Ruth. The lady read every local. Boy. Thank you, Ruth. Yeah, we appreciate effort around here. We do. You know that one person who came up here claiming that they were eligible is helping to organize a walk for care on June 15th in commemoration of International Domestic Workers Day. Right here at Emancipation Park. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So if you want to be a part of that walk, come here. June 15th. So the flyer here, if you want more information, link me after for the flyer. All right. I feel like the live video is now ready. Yes. The who? You asked a good question. The booths that are on display. Children First Agency. The Bureau of Gender Affairs. The Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation, the Women's Resource and Outreach Center, Jamaica Community of Positive Women, the Violence Prevention Alliance, Woman Inc., the Domestic Violence Intervention Center, Eve for Life, the Clothesline Project, and the Jamaica Network of Seropositives. Most of whom were not where? There? Why weren't you there? Well, some of them were there, and that's what counts. But we changed was not. Don't let them keep on a cut up. All right, so we have this immersive experience, this really innovative experience. You get to walk through this tunnel and hear some of the things that people are going through. Some people were able to go through it early, and we were able to capture that kind of really raw, honest first response. And we like to share some of that here now. So if the live video is ready.
So it's like these adults I've been chatting with online when I play games, and they keep asking me to do stuff I don't really want to do, and it's kind of freaking me out. And then there's this other dude at school, the library guy, and he's been acting very weird around me. Sarah, hold on. Adult friends, online games, what kind of things are they asking you to do? They want me to chat with them privately. And sometimes they say weird things I don't understand. But I didn't want to be rude, so I just went along with it.
Alright, so can I have your name, please? And what was your experience like in the tunnel? What message stood out to you?
My name is Trulance Charles. I'm a member of the Jamaica Household Workers Union. And I had a feeling of positiveness for those who are abused, and they should stand up for their right and speak out. Don't keep it inside, because it goes on forever and ever. And the better you speak, the more help you get.
So my name is Solomon. The tunnel was an interesting experience, just looking at the visual and the auditory senses.
It's scary.
Yeah, reading the different signs too, you realize just the whole sad some of these stories are, and it's just really sad that people are out here doing these things. And I just want them to stop.
So
it cannot be right.
You did the right.
So think about your own siblings, think about your parents. You don't want anybody doing that to any of them, and so you need to just control themselves rather, and just stop it now.
Wait. Oh yeah, doing the things. Your things are your place this.
Me never know what I upset you. Me can't put it back.
You're too bright, man. Always up in the people business. You need to learn to stay in your place.
Leave her alone. It's not that serious.
Mind yourself. I have a feeling to ever take up for your sister.
Stop. You don't have any right to abuse me.
Oh, shut up, man. I'm here on the place. You have one.
Let go, my sister. We are not your property. We can call the police. You can go jail for this.
What I call the police.
Enough is enough. We won't tolerate this abuse any longer. Nothing gives you the right to treat us this way. We are leaving.
Alright, so my name is Aldi Williams from JM Plus. The thing that stood out for me was the role play in the tunnel. I think that the display of what's being played, the audio, and then to see it act out was really moving for me. And as well, the messages that we did not know that all the statistics that are there around there, and all the different women names that have been abducted, that have been abused, and there's either no trace of them or they were just left and killed. So I believe what we need to do is out there is that we need to understand and treat women equally, men and women equally, and we need to say no violence to men and women and girls as well.
My name is Norma Price. My experience about the tunnel, it is very enlightening and fascinating because I've been through sexual violence before. In 2013, I've been through something similar. Passed through it, and I thank God I'm still alive and I'm strong.
All right. So what message would you like to send?
I send a strong message to men, especially stop abusing ladies, and that the ladies can choose for themselves and be strong and know what is good for them or what is bad. They can walk away.
Mr. Smith, what you're doing is it's not appropriate. Please stop.
Come on, darling. You know you want the promotion. Just know a little thing for me.
and it's yours.
I need this job, but this isn't right. This should be a safe workplace with no intimidation and no harassment. That is my right.
Think about it, sweetheart. You're a smart girl. You know what's good for your career.
You are trying to exploit me, and I won't tolerate it. Sexual harassment is against the law.
Of course. But you know where to find me if you change your mind.
My name is Madani Tiam. I work with Canada. My experience was that it's a stark reminder of the challenges that a lot of women, young women, older women go through. And seeing the reminders of those who were raped and left dead, and from as little as, I think, 8 years old to 80 is a stark reminder that it affects everyone. And that, you know, as a man, I think men really need to step up and be part of the solution.
And what's the message would you like to send about ending gender-based violence?
I think ending gender-based violence has to start yesterday, and men have to be a big part of that. I think we need to improve awareness, be strong and be courageous and step up.
Yes. Okay. Thank you to everybody who went through the tunnel and who did those interviews and allowed us to record you so that we could have captured this moment and your earliest responses to it. I think your responses underscore the importance of the mission that we're on, to challenge harmful stereotypes and to promote a culture of safety and support. And we hope that this experience has been as enlightening for you as it has been for us. I remember that confronting these misconceptions is a first step, and some of these things are deeply entrenched. People strongly believe them, and so you might have to say it again and again and again for it to stick. But it's worth saying, and it's worth spending the time. We have shared the information for WMW. Please remember that when you're joining this conversation online, use the hashtag We Talk Facts, and that's facts with 2 S's, about GBV. Please use it to share any information you have about gender-based violence, to share your feedback on this campaign and the launch, about the project, anything that you found here. Remember to follow WMW on all of their platforms. If you want to go to their physical office, they are at 3 South Avenue, Swallowfield, Kingston 5, and you can email them at hello@wmwja.org. And we've come to the end of our time together this evening. Yes, we did it. It's launched. It is launched. Yes. So let's give a little gratitude and some thanks. We want to thank the participants, we want to thank our sponsors, and we want to thank you, the attendees who spent this evening with us. To our WMW volunteers who helped us get ready today, yes, and who are here with us today, big up yourself. Oxfam Canada, Global Affairs Canada, we could not have done it without you. Madani Tiam, Acting Head of Cooperation at Global Affairs Canada, big up yourself and thank you for supporting us. Nadia McLaren, Acting Director for Community Liaison at the Bureau of Gender Affairs. Deborah DuPerly Pinks, Senior International Assistance Officer, Gender Focal Point in Development Corporation. Our panelists, Judith Wedderburn, WMW Board of Jamaica Board of Director Patrick Layla, Human Rights Advocate, Policy and Advocacy Officer, Jamaica Aid Support for Life, and Shamar Bryan, Human Rights Advocate. Love and Intergenerational Panel. Owen Blacker Ellis, Blacker Not Blacker. Josie Patties. Shay Devon Ellis, Datija, did I get that right? Dategia Green. The media houses that offered us interviews, CVM, TVJ, Love FM, Nationwide. The entities that took their tables, they're still here. Please visit them. And if you are interested in participating in that legislative change, these are the same people that you should get in contact with. Infinity Integrated Marketing Communications and Events Limited, who planned and executed this impactful event. Infinity Integrated Marketing, big up yourself. RT3 Media and the cast and crew who directed and produced the We Talk Facts campaign ad. And finally, to our production crew here tonight, including Kigo's Music Production, who helped to make tonight a success and who saved us when Duppy tried to take the sound on 2 separate occasions. Yes. And, big up the host. Yay! And last but not least, pick up the host, Carla Moore. Please remember that the point of this campaign is to support change. We are trying to foster a different type of culture, a culture towards safety and support. WMW Jamaica, through its We Talk Facts campaign, is committed to fostering a culture of safety and support. This is just the beginning. And you know what? I don't know if WMW can say anything is just the beginning given the age of the organization. It's the continuation of the great work that they have been doing. Please remember to fill out the assessment form. If you weren't able to visit the tunnel when it had the sound on, please go ahead and visit them. And now we will have a little bit of a networking space. So please network with each other, engage, talk about what you've learned here, visit the stakeholders on display. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for the work you do. Please get home safely and have a great night. It's been my pleasure hosting you. We are officially launched. We can applaud ourselves. Thank y'all, everybody. Good night.